Hello everyone, welcome back to Keeping Bees and Sawing Trees. It's a chilly one outside. It's about 10 degrees with 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts. So today is going to be an inside work day. And today I'm going to be working on building parts of a honeybee hive. This is not just any honeybee hive, this is what they call a Langstroth beehive. It got its name from its inventor, Reverend Lorenzo Langstroth, and he invented this in 1851. So it's been around for quite a long time. He discovered that with these dimensions of this hive, the removable frames and the discovery of what is known as bee space, the bees could be kept more efficiently, and you could open the hive without destroying the comb or harming the bees. This style of hive replaced the skep and the fixed boxes they used to use, and it turned beekeeping into a large-scale, cost-effective industry. And to the best of my knowledge, this style of hive right here is what is widely used in the U.S. today with all the commercial beekeepers. So I'll get the camera turned around and I'll show you what we have inside here and describe what they call the different parts of this hive. Well, the way this box configuration is right here, this is what they call a single deep, just because it's one single box. This is a 10 frame box. There's 10 frames inside. This here is the bottom board, 3/4 of an inch here and 3/8 of an inch down here. It's reversible, so you can use either side of that board. I like the 3/4 myself. I can get a nice entrance reducer in here, so it prevents robbing and stuff like that. Keeps animals out of it, mice, snakes. But this here is a telescoping top cover. You take that off, and below that, this is simply what they call the inner cover. Got a hole here. I think they call that a portman hole. I'll have to look that up. But it goes on there. And here's the frames. These are the removable frames that I was talking about. As far as I know, in the United States, any beehive has to have removable frames in it now for inspection purposes, looking for disease, and it's very simple. You just pull these frames out. This is what they call foundation. This is wax covered. The bees will draw this out, and this is where they keep their honey, the brood. Basically, everything they need is kept in the honeycomb inside this hive. But when I said he discovered bee space, the space between these right here is about 3/8 of an inch, 1/4 to 3/8 of an inch. And what that does is that allows the bees to pass through here, and they won't put comb in here. You may get a little bit here and there, but normally they do not. And anything bigger than this, if I was to leave that like that, that would be clear full of burr comb, and it just makes it miserable to work that hive. Now, anything smaller than that, the bees would put a sticky substance in there, what they call propolis. It's very sticky, annoying when you're trying to work your bees, but it is the antiseptic of a beehive. It kind of numbs your mouth if you eat it. It's supposed to be very good for you. We eat it here. I ain't gonna say all the time, but whenever we get some nice clean stuff, we will eat it. Now, as far as these frames go, I do not make them. I assemble them. There's just a lot of different cuts. I'll get the, I'll see if I can't do this and show you just the end cuts of this. When these are pushed together like that, there's your bee space down here at the bottom. And there's just a lot of little cuts on these things, and it just takes so much time. It's cheaper for me to buy them than to build them. But today I already have a couple bottom boards made up. We're going to be making the box in particular, and probably assembling a couple of the telescoping outer covers. Maybe even some inner covers. I'll have to look around here. I have an order for a couple complete beehives, and when I say a complete beehive, it'll be the bottom board, 2 10-frame deep brood chambers, and 2 medium boxes. They're 6 5/8 deep instead of 9 5/8. And I already got those made. Probably gonna have to assemble some frames and get them together. But we got an order for some beehives, and I'm just gonna go through. Like I say, I already have some of the stuff made, and whatever I don't have made, that's what we're making. So we're gonna get started. Everything I make is from rough cut lumber. Got a big pile here. I cut this last year, so it's good and dry. I cut everything here on the sawmill, and none of these trees that I make these beehives out of that I cut down specifically to make lumber out of. Everything has been salvaged trees. I have seen people cutting trees down in their yard, and I've stopped and asked them what they were going to do with the log, or asked the tree service what they were going to do with the log, and they give them to me. So we got them cut up about 1 inch thick. We need to plane them down to 3/4. So here we go. of this lumber here, pretty bad shape. And you look down it, a lot of knots in it. And I think from sitting in front of this door here and this window, every one of these boards has a bow to it. So normally I would plane them, then put them on a joiner, get one edge good, and cut the length. And then I would cut them to width on the table saw, but I think I'm gonna have to cut them to length first and run small pieces through the joiner, because man, by the time I get these suckers straight, they won't be wide enough. They're barely wide enough now. So we'll just see what we can do with it. There's going to be a lot of waste here, unfortunately. Probably should have had them covered up here a little bit better, but never really thought about them being inside and the sun getting to them through that window. But we'll see what we got. got to take a little break from building bee boxes. As you can see behind me, all my baskets are empty and it's not warmed up a bit. I do have a couple right there. I'd like to move them a little closer, and unfortunately those are the last two baskets I have, and there's no warm up. A little bit of a warm up coming, but not a major one. We haven't broke above freezing for 3 weeks, I bet. And it's supposed to be 40 degrees on Tuesday, so time to split some more firewood, unfortunately. And don't know how muddy it's going to get. That's the only 40-degree day. Other than that, low 30s, lower 20s for lows, so it'd be good splitting weather. But right now, hopefully the skid steer will start and I can change my baskets out here, and I have to get another one down to the driveway over to the smoker because I have about probably 10 racks of ribs I have to cook tomorrow for a little party. So let's go see if she'll start. I'll be damned. That's amazing. Well, I purchased this gun a couple weeks ago because it would staple 7/16 crown staples. Bought that to replace that, which is about 8 years old, and it will only do 1/4 inch crown staples. That gun hits every time, never misses. Maybe I'm using this thing wrong, I have no idea. But if you double squeeze the trigger, it'll put a staple in. Squeeze it once, it's hit or miss. In 8 years, I could count on both hands how many times that thing has missed. I don't have enough fingers and toes to count how many times that thing missed on 4 boxes. So far, my opinion of this is a monumental piece of junk. I'm going to have to read some instructions and see if I'm doing something wrong. But if you have to squeeze the trigger 2 times to get 1 staple, that is no good. I will report back on that later. Well, other than the absolute frustration with that brand new staple gun and having to pull the trigger twice to get it to put 1 staple in, I'm gonna have to look into that. I don't know what's going on there, but that's ridiculous. But other than that, it's been a pretty good day. Got a lot of wood planed down and only 4 boxes made, but that was kind of disappointed with the number of boxes that I got made, but I had to dig clear to the bottom of the pile to find wood wide enough to make those. So hopefully outside the door we have another pile out here. I hope it's got some wider stuff in it. Have to take a look at that tomorrow while I am making some ribs. But I guess that about does it for this video. Probably the next one I'll be doing a little cooking. I'm all over the place. I do a lot of things. And basically I just videotape what I'm doing that day. So tomorrow, cooking ribs. Till the next one, have a good one.